This is my media evaluation by George McCusker Bland. And in what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? My media product uses, develops, and challenges forms and conventions of other media products. So for an example, my Total Film magazine compared to the one on the right is similar in the way that I have laid out the text on the left-hand side of the magazine. The way it positions the main image in the center of the magazine is also similar to the one on the right, as you can tell. And I didn't position any cell lines on the right of the magazine because the main image I was carrying a knife, which would have meant it would have blocked out the knife, which wouldn't have been good at all. The barcode on my magazine front cover is also in a similar shape and position compared to real media products. So for the examples I put up on the screen, you can see from Empire and Total Film that both barcodes have been positioned in the bottom right of the magazine, which is where I decided to position my barcode as well. One way I developed my magazine further than other magazine front covers was the use of unique fonts that I had found off of font websites such as DeFont. By using this, I feel that I've not only developed my magazine style further, but I've also challenged the style in which a magazine cover should be created. This is because the font that I have used is probably considered to be cheesy for the Total Film style of word formatting, whereas my magazine front cover is a Halloween edition, so therefore I feel it is appropriate to use this type of font on my edition of Total Film. So in a way I feel that I'm also challenging the forms and conventions of other magazine front covers. In terms of my poster, it also shows the conventions of many other horror posters. So as I have used many different products of what makes up a horror film poster. For example, I have reviews at the bottom of my poster to try and convince people to go and see my film. And if you look at the example poster I put up next to mine, there's also reviews plastered all around the main image to attract an audience. The font I've used is the same font I used for my magazine front cover that I got for DeFont. This is because I didn't want to confuse people on the type of font style that I've used for my main title, which is why it is exactly the same as it is on my magazine front cover. But I also used it because I feel the font itself stands out and is relatively an unpopular font, which means that it won't usually be based on many film posters or used by many film posters. So therefore it may stand out and catch the eyes of many people. In terms of my trailer, I followed the conventions and codes of other trailers. So I would use features that other trailers commonly have. So these features include dramatic pauses in the trailer, suspenseful music as non-diegetic sound, and consistencies in shots and editing techniques, such as montage editing and continuity editing. These all reflect conventions that are used in other trailers, such as Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. I feel that I have attempted to challenge the normal codes and conventions of normal trailers by adding in one scene that is broken up and divided into chunks, placed within throughout the entire trailer, making like a feeling of uncertainty and also to confuse the viewer by using these shots in places it usually wouldn't fit in, making the whole trailer feel disjointed and also helping to add to the creepiness of George's psychotic nature. How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary text? I feel that my trailer is very effective in combination with my poster and magazine. This is because they are all used to help tell a story together. My film magazine shows George holding a knife while staring into the camera, putting an awkward smile, which clearly suggests something is not right about George. Also, the fact that he is holding a camera suggests a strong stalker element to his character. This works hand in hand with my film poster, which is a long shot of George holding a kitchen knife, staring to the left at something out of the shot. So this only causes curiosity as to what George is actually staring at, but also shows that he's clearly psychotic as he is holding a kitchen knife while staring into the distance. This shows that there is a similarity to my magazine front cover, as they are both carrying a violent weapon and both staring in an abnormal way, and I do feel that they both work together effectively to cause an uneasy feeling on the audience, but also work together effectively on the way they both link to my film trailer. So in my film trailer, the use of the camera is essential, as George loves films, so the fact that he spends most of his screen time carrying a camera shows the psychotic stalker element of George. That was also shown in the film magazine cover, and is still applicable in this film trailer. Another feature that is similar is the fact that the knife that he is carrying is also shown to be used in the trailer as well. The fact that there are quick jump cuts and edits of George smiling, laughing and crying in his room whilst holding the knife suggests that he's not only psychotic but also highly emotionally unstable, which works effectively when in combination with all three of my media products put together. What have you learnt from your audience feedback? One thing that I have learnt from the feedback from my focus group was that there were many things that I needed to change in my magazine front cover, poster and trailer. For my magazine front cover, my focus group told me they liked the overall finished design, but they had asked me to change a few things as well. One of the first things they were concerned about was the fact that my magazine front cover wasn't originally a Halloween issue. So I agreed with them in the fact that I should include the Halloween edition, as there was a lot of horror related material that I was plastering over the magazine. So in theory it should therefore be a horror issue. Another thing that my focus group thought I should change at the time as well was my first front cover. The original colour of the text that I was using was black instead of white, which I thought would make my magazine stand out, but they thought it would make it stand out too much. So I agreed with them on that as well and changed the font to white, brown and red, and even added a brown box with the white font as well, so that the cell lines could contrast with the white colour and make it look more effective. Please stop talking. Right.
Why are you recording?
One thing that my focus group wanted me to add were images of other famous horror films to help imprint the fact that my magazine is a horror edition. My focus group were happy with my poster overall, but they felt that I needed to make a few changes to certain features of my posters. One thing that they really didn't like was the way that I had positioned my font. What they had wanted me to do was to position it from under the image to above the image, because they felt that it would stand out more. Harry, stop doing that right now. Another thing my focus group wanted me to improve was the placement of my main image. This is because it wasn't very well placed on the poster itself, and they suggested that perhaps I should resize and crop my main image as it was too big for the red background. After changing all of these problems, I have received positive feedback on my poster. My trailer originally did not run as smoothly. It struggled with very little non-diegetic sound. My focus group picked up on this, and they also agreed that it didn't really run that smoothly. They had issues with the continuity of my sound, but with suggestions from my feedback, I had one consistent sound, which was my suspenseful music, to run throughout the entire trailer. Another thing that I had changed due to feedback is the wind obstructing my dialogue, which wasn't good. The way I got around this was by voicing over my character, as this eliminated any external background noise that was out of my control, therefore making the trailer much easier to follow and the dialogue in general much clearer to understand. One more suggestion that I have received from my focus group feedback was the suggestion that the length of the clips affected the continuity and consistency of my trailer. I changed this by cutting down some clips that ran on too long unnecessarily. In doing this, the trailer ran much more smoothly now than it originally did. How did you use media technologies in the construction and research, planning and evaluation stages? In terms of my magazine front cover, I used various editing programs. These included such programs as Microsoft Publisher 2013, which I had used to help me measure the layout of my magazine and the borderlines which helped me stick to the specific structure. And by measuring this, I could make my magazine cover more accurate and to scale when in comparison to other magazine front covers. In terms of how I managed to manipulate my image, I used Photoshop. I used the blurring effects to blur out the background behind George, as I decided without the background the image looked much better, and I felt I could therefore place it on my magazine front cover and it would fit in much easier. Also on Photoshop, I manipulated the background to the Total Film logo. I used it to make it transparent with the new background that I have added. I used such websites as DaFont to get some of the unique and creative fonts that I have used over the free media products. This helps it stand out much more than the regular inbuilt fonts of Publisher. Other media technologies I have used to help create and construct things such as my film trailer include PowerDirector 12 and Audio Director. I used PowerDirector 12 as an editing program so that I could use to cut down all of my clips. I also used the multi-track function on it to also edit various audio clips as well, so that I could mix the diegetic and non-diegetic sounds together effectively. I then used Audio Director to cut down specific background noises such as wind. This is all of the media technologies I have used within the construction of my final project. Finally, in terms of research, I have used things such as Microsoft Word to type down my findings, for things such as the screenshots that I grabbed from my magazine and poster analysis. Also, in the planning side, I have used media technology such as Microsoft PowerPoint to help me with my presentation of such things as my distribution company logo. In terms of my overall media technology that I have used to help present my work, I used Wix, the website creator, to create my own website so that I could actually upload all of the work that I have done onto it. On Wix, I categorized everything that I've uploaded into specific folders and files. The reason I have done this, obviously, was to make my work easier to find and also for people to navigate their way around my website easier. Thank you very much for listening to my media evaluation.